So then the main event of the evening came up on SmackDown, which was the final match between the two winners of the previous two triple threat matches to determine who's going to go to Night of Champions and face the guy who won two triple threat matches and another match on Raw on Monday. Jesus Christ. And basically it was AJ and Bobby Lashley, and they had managed to stop the bleeding where Bobby had run headfirst into the steel stairs, but did you see the big old knot on his head?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And again, I was at matches as a photographer or as a fan 3 days a week for several years at minimum. And then I was on the road and I mean, it's not like Mid-South Wrestling or Crockett Promotions were exactly, soft wrestling or the, WWE cartoon type of 8-minute match or whatever. Those guys did a lot of shit. I wouldn't see as many hard ways in a fucking year as I've seen on television in the last month. But anyway, they had a good match. AJ is the right kind of opponent for Bobby. He's smaller and quicker and a heel that can bump around and then come out of nowhere with a big high impact move or off the top or whatever that can believably do damage to Bobby Lashley. But having said that, it was mostly this was a regular Raw or SmackDown match, except that Bobby started bleeding again, which gave it a little bit more drama. But, they went 2 minutes to the break when they got started. And then they came back and had the rest of the match. And finally, Bobby went for the spear. AJ moved. He hit the post. AJ hit the forearm off the top. 1, 2, 3. And so it's AJ versus Seth Franklin Rollins at the pay-per-view for the new, improved, restaurant quality, gourmet world heavyweight title that they have created. And I got to think we're in for another, well, when you know who won the pony moment. I think a lot of people were saying, well, it's probably going to be Seth. I think it may be Seth. Don't you think it may be old Franklin?
I think it has to be Franklin at this point. I think things have kind of been pointing in that direction. I think it should be a good match, all things considered, even though it'll be airing in the middle of the day from Saudi Arabia. That's never a fun time to watch wrestling. But I think it's going to be Rollins. If you're Rollins and kayfabe, why wouldn't you immediately win the belt and say, all right, I'll see you in a month. I'm going to work Roman's schedule. They let him do it. I'm going to do it too. And then they have to they should have to keep creating another world champion over and over again.
Well, and also here, another clue is the guy, they just had a draft. And the guy that they just sent to SmackDown is wrestling a guy that they just sent to Raw or is on Raw for a title that they've said will be exclusive to Raw.
Right.
No Raw.
The other thing I'll say is if Cody and Roman is still the big picture that they're going to get to, we assume. And not all assumptions are safe when it comes to Vince McMahon. Rollins being one champion and Roman's being the other, if they do interact, if it's not just Rollins having his own universe on Raw, there's something interesting there. Both guys from The Shield, both guys are now world champion, very different personalities on camera. There's probably something that could be done there, but if one's going to be kept exclusively on Raw, and Roman's going to work one time every 6 weeks, might not even work. He's going to do a promo once in every 6 weeks and then maybe work. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But there's something there for Rollins and Roman. They were teasing it with Rollins and Heyman on Raw a few weeks ago. Can
you imagine the promos Roman could cut on Franklin when he said, look at you. What have you become since we were together? Look at you. The state of you. With that shit-sniffing look he gets on his face.
I thought it was bad enough when Ambrose left to become a plumber. But look at you. Look at you.
Look at you. You're a costume designer. All right. Well, that was the incomparable episode of SmackDown. And now we make the big plans for the date with Destiny that AJ and Seth Franklin have in Saudi Arabia.